Welcome back, y'all.
Hey.
Howdy.
What's up?
This is the greatest week to be a Hornets fan in a long time.
Man.
Oh, a streak that's going to last a week.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'll take it any day of the week.
I will take it. The Charlotte Hornets
The
win
light is
2 games.
blue.
Yep, light.
Yes.
We got the teal lights. We had a pretty good showing at the first 2 days of All-Star Weekend. And that's what we're going to talk about today. This is Under Construction. I'm Kaiser Sose. To my left, Rodney Rich Richardson. To my right, Jamal, the angry black fan.
What's up,
Darby.
Charlotte? What up, Charlotte?
We're going to talk to you all things Charlotte sports and culture. Also, big up to our new fans that we got from last week from having the legendary Tone X on here.
Good show last week, man.
That was a great show. Great show. He will be back.
We got some pressure this week, man.
Yeah, I know, right?
How can we top that, right?
Yeah. So let's just get into it.
Yeah,
Charlotte
man.
Hornets went 2-0 since the last time you guys saw us.
Yeah.
They played at Detroit and at Minnesota. 2 big road wins. The Minnesota win was a comeback. We called the Detroit win because I don't think the Hornets can lose.
Hey, listen, man.
We're their daddy.
Listen, there are some just unexplainable things in sports sometimes, man. We own the Pistons for whatever reason. And it doesn't matter if Blake Griffin and Andre Drummond was there. We own those guys.
Think about this. We own Orlando, and then we're like, man, they're starting to beat us, and now we own Detroit.
Well, then it was Toronto for a little while.
It was Toronto for a while, man. Yeah.
Which was surprising to me because Toronto was a good team. I mean, even last season they won the championship, and they just couldn't beat us. So now
I want to own Philadelphia.
They've passed
That'd be nice.
the torch to. Yes, it would be. Actually, everyone might be owning Philadelphia pretty soon. They don't look nearly as good as they did.
The process might be resetting again,
especially if Embiid leave. But so let's just get to these games. First game against Detroit, box score looked pretty good. Miles Bridges led all scorers on the Hornets with 18 points. Zeller had 10 rebounds. Graham 11 assists. Pretty good game from the Hornets.
Throwback game.
It was a low scoring game.
Yeah.
The final score was 87-76. We won by 11 points, but the Hornets just felt like
they were in control the whole time.
They did, which was the first
wire-to-wire win all season.
But only 87 points, and our high scorer only had 18 points. I don't know if that was so much that the Hornets played well, or that the Pistons just were bad. A little bit of disarray with Drummond leaving.
Let me tell you my theory on that game. Sometimes when you play a bad team, this is going to sound really strange. I'm telling you all this before I even get it out, man. Sometimes they can suck you into playing bad too.
That's true.
And what I mean by that is like it looked like a playground game for probably 3 quarters. You get what I'm saying? And there didn't look like there was a lot of structure. It was a lot of bad shots being taken. There was a lot of missed shots. The game was sloppy. Both teams turned the ball over. And as you mentioned before, the Pistons were probably in a bit of shock that their guy was out. Blake Griffin didn't play. Mm-hmm. And I think even though we're not a good team as well, but I still think we kind of got sucked into that kind of playground style of basketball that was happening Monday. But most importantly, man, we won the game, which we always do for some reason against the Detroit Pistons. That makes it 13 in a row now, or something crazy like that.
Right.
Whatever. We got a good road win, a much needed road win. So I'm cool with it, man. No matter how we won.
We avoided the Christian Wood revenge game.
Because there's always a random guy.
Yeah, always. Yeah.
that goes off.
And kill us, but the actual story of this small winning streak we're having is Miles Bridges and Malik Monk.
Yes, sir.
They both seem to have turned the corner at the right time and actually are playing very efficient. Malik is taking the ball to the basket and not settling anymore. And I'm loving the confidence he's playing with and Borrego is giving him. And as quiet as it's kept.
Whoa.
What?
Are we attributing James Borrego to the sudden development of Malik Monk? I thought Borrego hated Monk.
Right.
I thought
our coaches don't develop. We're trying to make the playoffs. And then as quiet
That's sarcasm, people.
And as quiet as it's kept, Devonte Graham has continued to play well, even though he can't find his jump shot. He found it against Minnesota.
Right.
But
he struggled against Detroit.
He struggled against Detroit, but he's such a great passer. Just imagine if the talent is upgraded around him.
I'll say this, and this is a controversial take, and I think when Vince was on the show, he had a similar take. But Devonte Graham right now is further along than Kemba Walker was at the
It's
same
fact.
point in his career.
It's fact.
It is absolute fact.
I'm agreeing with him, and you know how hardcore of a Kemba fanboy I am. So no,
I would say the major Kemba Walker had better handles and control coming out of college,
right?
But he wasn't as good of a shooter. And Kemba Walker wasn't a bad shooter. He just didn't have NBA range. It took him years to get that 3-point shot.
See, my thing is Devonte had the luxury of learning from a Kemba
absolutely,
and a Tony Parker.
no doubt.
Yeah.
And Kemba learned from
Kimba had DJ Augustine.
Yeah,
who probably didn't want him there.
No, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's certain situations you have to look at, and Devonte Graham was able to sit back and be up under a team that's trying to make the playoffs. Kimba, when he came in, he was part of the 7-win team.
Kimba went through 3 different coaches.
Yeah, right.
So. All that is taken into account, but
learning curve was a little different.
Yeah, the fact still remains that we got a good one in Devonte Graham, and
who was drafted in the second round. I'm not going to ever let people forget that.
So yeah, he's a little streaky, as most shooters are, and his only big deficiency is getting to the basket, which is something that Kemba struggled with. His early seasons as well, being an undersized guard.
You guys want to hear a story?
Sure. What you got?
So I heard on draft night that Jordan was in the GM's chair, and he said, "The guy from Kansas, go get him." And so Mitch was like, "Okay, I'll draft him." So Jordan makes all the draft picks. Can he get some credit for this one?
No, absolutely not.
Absolutely not. No, Jordan doesn't get credit for the good ones.
He can't have credit for this. He can't have credit for Rozier.
No.
He can't have credit
for PJ,
Miles, Monk. Even though Monk's his boy, we know Monk. Monk is Jordan's boy.
Hey.
Y'all wondering why Monk? Yeah, Monk.
He wouldn't have slapped me in the back of the head.
Here's what a lot of fans don't realize: Monk gets a lot more leeway than a lot of young NBA players would have gotten, and people are mad because coaches are holding. Our young guys to these standards of accountability.
Right.
But we saw over and over. It's not. I think coaches are too. I'm okay with mistakes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not okay with the same mistake
over and over again.
And that was partially Monk's problem. But I think Jordan was like, no, I like this kid. We've seen how Jordan is with Monk and everybody else on the bench.
Yeah.
I think Monk.
I think that it definitely appears that they have some type of special rapport between each other, and
that's his new Kemba.
That's his new Kemba. And to go back, we all just listened to a conversation Mitch Kupchak had on WFNZ with Kyle Bailey, who we hope will be on the show soon. But to go back to the Malik Monk thing, man. Mitch Kupchak once was quoted as saying, "Sometimes the best trades are the ones you don't make." Mm-hmm. I'm here to say I am glad that rumored Hornets-Knicks trade did not go through. I've always, before that was rumored, I always said it's just kind of a pointless trade. It's kind of it's a nothing for nothing trade, so to speak. I'm glad I'm glad to summarize all of this. I'm just glad we're not giving up on Malik Monk yet. I'm glad the organization decided let's at least give this kid another season.
Yeah, absolutely, and we're seeing the fruits of that labor, and hey, props to Malik Monk too.
Growing up,
the player has to realize the mistakes that they're making and hold themselves accountable as well. And I think
speaking of the
Monk
player,
has done that.
Rick Bonnell had an article just kind of chronicling his growth.
Yeah,
and he stated, which makes plenty of sense. He came from small town Arkansas to Kentucky to Charlotte, all within a year of his life.
Right.
At 19 years old.
Yeah.
And he was like, I was expected to be like a 25-year-old, and I wasn't there yet. And that to me, it crystallizes why it took so much time for him to fully blossom. Mm-hmm. He had to gain weight. He's still a child. Essentially still a child. And so I'm excited to see where he develops and blossoms to. Maybe he can be like a mini Lou Williams, Or maybe he's a Vinny Johnson in the future.
He's more athletic than Lou Williams.
He reminds me.
I mean, he is, man.
People say this all the time, but I think he's J.R. Smith 2.0. And that's not a knock on him. J.R. Smith was a really good player.
He was a really valuable player. He really was.
Though.
Well, I mean,
see, I have better aspirations for him.
No, I'm with you. I agree on that.
But the thing is, it's hard.
Lou was consistent. That's where I'm coming from.
It's hard for players like that to be consistent. For instance, Monk is not a great 3-point shooter. He can hit the shot, but he's never even shot league average.
The potential is there, though.
The potential is there.
Yeah.
I wouldn't leave him open if I'm going up against the
you got to
game
respect
plan,
the shot.
Yes, I'd be like, okay, run him off the 3-point line. But you got a guy who relies heavily on his athleticism rather than his basketball IQ, and then he's got a streaky shot. That leads to inconsistency. It really is.
I want to say this is something that I'm pretty excited for, and I have to kind of quell my excitement because it's such a small sample size. But in this last week or so, you know what I like most from Malik Monk is he's becoming more efficient.
Yeah.
And when you're that young, and if you can prove that you can consistently be efficient, the sky is the limit for that guy if he keeps that up. So
I think
that
he's realizing,
remains
like a lot of NBA players are nowadays, that no longer do the Giants roam the paint.
Right.
You can get to the rim.
You can get to the rim,
and
man.
then you kind of force the issue with the referees. They either got to call a foul or you're going to use their athleticism.
Well, if you're us.
Well, if you're us, you're not going to get the foul.
You might not get the foul, but
let's quell our happiness and talk Miles Bridges. We had to be more critical.
Oh, we have to. Yeah.
Because
the All-Star game, it doesn't.
Yeah,
it's just the exhibition.
So for those of you who did not watch the Rising Stars Challenge
and watch Miles Bridges put on an absolute show,
It's just an exhibition
en route to winning the Rising Stars MVP, and not just him, but him, Graham, and Washington were really the reason we won that game.
Right.
Those three guys came alive in the third quarter.
It was a special feeling to hear the commentators
say
Charlotteans
are
heating up. The Charlotte is heating up, man. I was like, that's what I'm talking about.
So
some positivity.
So
holla at me when it said in the regular season. Y'all being too positive.
Over the last 8 games, Miles Bridges is averaging 20-7.
I'll take that, man.
20-7 over the last 8 games, and a lot of people are like, "Well, let's hope what he's done during the Rising Stars Challenge can carry through." No, I think
you pay attention to his
I think what he's doing in the games carry through to the Rising Stars game.
I have an inside source for the Hornets who said JB had actually had a pretty good talk with both Miles and Monk, and we're seeing what's happening. Now, can't go into detail about what that talk was, but basically, JB challenged both of them and said, "Look, this is your life now. This is what you do every day.
21.
This could be it. If you don't get this, what else are you gonna do?" I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but that's what the bulk of the conversation was, and it's just interesting that we're seeing the results from the last week or so.
I wish the talk was with Dwayne Bacon.
Maybe he's next.
Well, if you guys read the statement
What's wrong with Dwayne Bacon, man?
If you guys
read
the statement that Miles Bridges made after Marvin Williams left the team,
right?
And he essentially talked about, that we're going to lose that veteran presence from Marvin.
Somebody's got to step up,
and someone's got to step up.
Yeah.
And hey, might as well be me, right?
Right. I love what happened. I think it was in the middle of the week. Rick Bonnell basically was saying that the Hornets stunk during the Timberwolves game, which we got to get to. Which, God Almighty,
he didn't lie.
He didn't lie. It was And Miles Bridges basically replied like, "Hey, thanks, Rick. We needed that." And
just like he did a legendary tweet during the Rising Stars game.
Yeah, man. Oh God, yes,
legendary
sir.
tweet. All right, bet.
I bet.
And then they come out and
smoke them
and win. So I and a lot of people.
How do you not like that, man?
Have stated the sentiment about, because he's done things like that in the past,
right?
Yeah. And I'm like, you know what? I don't think it's the fact that he doesn't take criticism well. It's like
he wants the challenge.
Yes, he loves the challenge. So I think JB coming right to him and being like, "Look,
hey man, what the fuck you doing?"
Right? Yeah. Hey,
basically.
And we've seen this assertiveness and aggressiveness from him and Monk and Cody Mark. I tell you this much: I love our young core. I don't care what.
Yeah.
I don't care what these negative Nancy fans say. I love our young core. I'll go to war any day with PJ, Monk, Bridges, Rozier, Martin, and Graham.
And
both Martins.
It's starting to look like both Martins. And look, man. Hey. You know,
trouble.
I guess we win 2 games, and we just and this positive rainbow just opens up. But look, man, Jalen McDaniel. Look,
Ooh.
I mean, where'd this guy come from?
Man, I'm telling you, like that potential in the defensive end is so salivating.
let me ask y'all this: do y'all remember when James Borrego was hired? What Mitch Kupchak said the focus was going to be on? He specifically
The Ute.
Yeah. Player development.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What aren't we seeing the fruits of that?
So far, so
Fans,
good, man.
I need y'all to understand. That's what the game plan is. It's always been to develop the youth. The idea that, well, they aren't playing the young guys. Mitch said in that interview that last season their goal was to get to the playoffs.
Right.
You don't make the playoffs playing kids.
You don't. Yeah, I'm sorry. You just don't. So they didn't make the playoffs. They missed it by 1 game. Kimba left, and then they said, okay, now we can start our plan of just, playing the young guys. And if you look at everyone, there's been this narrative that the young guys aren't getting playing time. That is so untrue. I need you guys to go to Pro Basketball Reference and look at the minutes per game.
We're playing like the most.
Yeah,
most.
exactly.
Right.
Our young guys are.
When last time you seen Batum? I'll wait.
France.
Yeah, since France. Yeah, France.
Last time. Yeah.
So and we barely saw him KG when he was on the team.
Yeah. So
which is the point I wanted to make, because it's even exponentially more important to play the youth now because those two are gone. So especially with Marvin, MKG wasn't getting minutes anyway, but Marvin's minutes have now opened up for guys like Caleb Martin and Jalen McDaniel. So I mean, we even seeing contributions out of those two, man.
He's 6'10".
We just need
can move with the guards. Like this dude, if we continue developing,
he's hitting open threes.
We just need Dwayne Bacon to
wake up.
I don't know,
man.
There were a lot of things I saw from Bacon last season. I thought, okay, he's going to be pretty good. And we saw them at the very beginning of the season, but he's running into
the wall.
This wall. Well, what the wall is that, teams game plan. They look at film. They say, okay, here's what this guy does. You checking him? Watch when he goes to his left or whatever. They figure that out. And then it is your job as a player and as a coach to say, okay, hey, here's what they're doing. Here's how we figure it out. We're seeing that. We saw that with Devonte Graham. It looks like maybe he's gotten around that wall. But Dwayne Bacon never did. And then he got injured. Yeah. So then that opened the door. Really, that's what opened the door for Devonte Graham. Yeah. Because he took that starting role. Right. And you're not going to.
Never relinquished.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm observing from Dwayne Bacon is, and I see a lot of bad body language, man, which is never really a good sign. Dwayne Bacon, yeah, man, and he didn't play against the Pistons. He plays 15 minutes in the Minnesota game and goes 0 for 3. But most importantly, doesn't look aggressive. He doesn't look like he really wants to be out there. And that's not the Dwayne Bacon we know. You know what I mean? Dwayne Bacon, at the very least, is always going to be aggressive. Ready. He's always going to be ready to play. And I haven't seen that in the last probably, 5 to 10 games with Dwayne Bacon.
Honestly, I think it's to this point. His next stop in the NBA is going to be the stop where he flourishes. Mm-hmm. I honestly think that he's a free agent after this year. At this point, to be real with you, I don't offer him that other contract.
But one thing that's not being kind of emphasized here is that, like, I think these Martin twins and Jay McDaniel are just pushing him out. Yeah. There's just not room for him anymore. Yeah. That's possible.
And you got the Kabaka dude over there in Europe probably coming over next year.
You probably didn't pronounce that right, but it's all good. That's probably did. Kabaka, whatever.
I'm from Charleston. I'm going to get you. I don't understand too much English. English is my second language. But Mitch said something interesting as well. In the draft, they're looking for talent. And it might be a wing. It might be a big guy.
Man, we got 19 forwards on this team, man.
Let me ask you guys this. And Mitch said something else about the draft that was very telling. He said that, Kyle Bailey said, hey, the college draft class looks kind of weak, and we know that you've been scouting international players.
Wait. You mean Michael Jordan wasn't over there scouting players?
Yeah.
I thought he was a scout and the talent evaluator. Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, man.
But
I hope he isn't.
Mitch said something to the effect of that it's always difficult to evaluate college talent at this point in the season.
Yeah.
Essentially, you got to wait as the season goes on. He's right. During the tournament is a lot of times where we see guys really, really shine and we see what their potential NBA pedigree might be. But still, having said that, I'm still not convinced that the game changer is in this draft, even in the top 5.
Right.
I mean, everyone, all the Hornets fans, we seem to have our hopes hung on Wiseman. But the guy's only played, 2 college games?
Right.
He's probably not going to play anymore.
Right. No, he's not gonna play.
Do we really think that James Wiseman is the guy? He's the missing piece that the Hornets need.
Honestly, if we pick him up, it's going to take at least 2 to 3 years for him to.
And aren't we tired of
serviceable NBA?
Aren't we tired of developing guys? I'm sick of it.
We don't have a choice, man.
That's true.
Hey, you want to hear something? Me and Jamal talked about this a while back. He might remember this. Honestly, I pick up that phone. I call Indiana.
Hey, what you want for this pick?
Which one for Miles Turner?
What you want?
Hey, man, I feel like the Hornets should seriously consider shopping the pick. I'm not saying make a move on the pick, but just
shop and see what you get.
See who's interested in it, especially once the lottery balls fall. And if it's a top 5 pick, then you see.
So this moment in Charlotte Bobcats history, little nugget here. Back when we got stiffed out of the number 1 pick, the Anthony Davis draft, we actually shopped the number 2 pick. Can anybody guess who we were trying to get with that number 2 pick?
James Harden.
We were trying to get James Harden with that number 2 pick.
He did not want to come here.
I mean,
the strip clubs suck here, so that's why.
Now
it's better than it was back then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now I mentioned that because like in this upcoming draft, hopefully we have a top 5 pick, but
because actually the Thunder wanted Bradley Beal.
Yeah.
I mean, just think about it. Would you rather have a known entity, all-star
level
player?
But here's my thing, and that kind of brings me to my point. Like with this draft being particularly weak, at least everybody says so. I don't know if we get that superstar game changer with a number 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever pick we're going to have. But you have to package something in order to essentially get what you want. Mitch Kupchak said, we don't want to make a trade that where we're going to win 2 or 3 more games. Right. We want to eventually get to a trade where we're going to get a player that wins us 18 more games.
But I think, look at Toronto. They pulled off. Now, granted, they had DeMar DeRozan that they could trade, but they pulled off the trade
of all trades.
Maybe the biggest trade in NBA history as far as impact. That literally
they
won them a championship.
I
mean, as quiet as it's kept too, they're Miami North. Better.
Yeah, and
as far as developing talent, you got Terrence Davis. Where the hell Pascal Siakam came from?
Yeah, but look at our core. You pair them with someone like, not saying that we could ever get Kawhi Leonard, but you pair them with a star player.
Like that. Things change around very quickly.
We had a star.
Well,
Yeah. Okay, let me ask you this. I was thinking about this last night. You put Kemba back on this team as it stands now with Graham. Let's take Rozier off. Let's say that trade never happens and Kemba resigns. Okay, so you got PJ, Miles, Monk, Graham, the Martin twins, and Kemba. How much better is this team?
We're in the 7th seed.
We're in the 7th seed. I agree, especially with how weak the East is this year. I agree with that.
He's saying the top 6 is strong.
No. Well, it's top heavy, but
the West is top heavy too, though.
Yeah, true. But the bottom of the East is pretty bad, man.
The bottom of the West is pretty bad.
True.
I'd rather be a bottom of the West team than a bottom
of the East. Cleveland is horrible,
team.
dog.
Yeah.
The Knicks are the Knicks.
San Antonio, we didn't.
Interesting tweet right here before we go to our commercial break. Matt McKenzie on Twitter said, I'll admit to being so-so on the Hornets, but it's a huge miss that Miles Bridges was the MVP of the Rising Stars game last night, and it got 0 mention by the Charlotte Observer or its beat writer.
Well,
maybe that would be our culture topic. About the demise of the Charlotte Observer. They're going bankrupt. I tried to click on an article the other day. They were like, "Hey, pay us money." I was like, "Pay no damn money to read." Hell no. What you talking about?
Charlotte Observer might get a GoFundMe pretty soon. I'm sorry, that was mean.
But
read The Athletic.
Read Under Construction.
Read Under Construction.
Read
Yeah,
Under
yeah.
Construction.
We didn't have an article though.
Well, you know.
Right.
Jamal, get the
Hey, at least we had a Facebook post and a
we had
tweet.
a Facebook post.
Instagram post. We gave them props. We did enough. We did more than they did.
So, Charlotte Hornets, you're tired of the conventional media. Come to Under Construction and get your point across with your brethren.
That's it, man. That's it.
We'll feed you. We'll let you play pinball.
You don't want journalists all up in your videos. Come to Under Construction.
You can even record a whack rap album if you want to.
Peace to Dame Lillard, by the way. Speaking of whack rap.
Stop! Don't do that, man. They're their peers. That's their peer.
I'm just saying.
Shout out to Tucci for saving the performance.
Yeah, please. Yeah. Ooh, boy. Lord have mercy.
And that's saying a lot.
That
Right
is,
now.
yeah, that's saying a lot. But also, Devonte Graham 3-point shootout last night. Man, if he hadn't had those nerves, being one of the first shooters is always tough.
I saw that, man.
Yeah, and
He needed a shot.
Kim ran into the same issue a few years ago. When you're like the first or second guy,
Yeah. I don't think it's a coincidence, man. Because look at Trae Young.
Trae Young,
Trae
Trae Young's one of the best. Although statistically, he's only shooting like 35.8%.
He put a lot of them up though, man.
But he's got great range.
Right.
He's not the same kind of shooter as like a Devin Booker even is. But yeah, I think going early, just messed Graham up. Once he got in his rhythm, and I remember
It was too late.
And I was like, man,
Yeah.
he had just. Yeah. But hey, he wasn't last, so that's what I'm going with.
It wasn't last.
Was not last. Trae Young's last. So and Graham was the first player to hit the new Mountain Dew ball. Something I liked.
I like
actually.
that. I like that. That's
that
a good
too.
addition.
It accounts for the fact that guys have a lot more range now than they did,
10 years ago.
Yeah, even 10 years ago.
Because it was pretty bad in NBA shooting 10 years ago.
Yeah. Right.
So
Distance ball.
props to our Charlotte Hornets, our young core, all outstanding showing during the
All-Star weekend.
All-Star weekend, and hopefully they'll be playing in the big game.
Hopefully you got out of Dodge and you're on vacation right now and it's cold in Chicago and they're shooting. All right.
Wow. Really, Rodney?
Let's go on break.
No. Predictions.
Predictions next week. Let's see. On the 20th, we play at Chicago. And then Saturday, the 22nd, we play versus Brooklyn. Those are only 2 games next week.
1-1. I don't know which one we take, but 1-1.
I feel the same way. I feel like we could win or lose either one of those games.
Man, we said 1-1 last week, and then we messed around and
We
went 2-0.
But Cat didn't play, though.
That's true.
You got to get that caveat right there. Cat didn't play.
D'Angelo Russell played.
All right, I think we
new
get
team,
Chicago, even though it's on the road, because I think that loss
We
to
owe them one.
Chicago
We owe them one.
still stings. It still
Oh, absolutely.
stings.
It started to go downhill after that loss.
Yeah, and I think we get them back for that. Brooklyn,
I think Brooklyn gets us.
is Kyrie playing?
If Kyrie's playing, we win.
We win. If
Yeah, Kyrie's playing. Because I think the last time we played them, we won and Kyrie played, didn't he?
yeah.
No, the last time we played them here, they beat us here last game. Last time.
We beat them.
But Kyrie didn't play.
Kyrie didn't play.
Kyrie didn't play the
Okay.
last
But
game.
we beat them in
In Brooklyn, yeah, and they got us in Charlotte.
Devonte went for 40.
Yeah.
All right, I'll go with 1-1.
I'll go 1-1 as well.
We get Chicago, and then Kyrie plays or doesn't play, and then we lose to Brooklyn. That's my prediction. So.
Cool.
All right, cool. We're going to take a short break here. You guys can hear a word from our sponsor, Anchor.fm.
Word up.
And we're back under construction.
What's up?
Yeah.
Charlotte sports and culture. So we're going to talk about
Oh,
the
boy.
biggest dead horse
Oh, God. Y'all hear that
in
sound?
the Carolinas.
Y'all hear that sound?
The horse just getting beat
The horse.
to death.
Animal cruelty is going down here under construction.
We're going to talk about the Cam Newton situation.
Oh, man.
So recently, David Tepper was given kind of an impromptu interview.
Well, actually, it was he had donated money to the teachers.
That's right. Yeah,
It was an event,
and it was an event he was at,
and of course, the media.
they surrounded him.
So, your event.
But they asked him about Cam Newton. Well, first they asked him if other teams had called about a possible trade, and his response was that his wife is the one that answers the phone in the house. But
Wow.
then he made a second comment, which he said, quote, "I've said it a million times. Is he healthy? And he's not a doctor, so there's a lot of different things that can happen. But first, is he healthy? Tell me that, and then we can talk." Boy, talk about an ambiguous statement.
Wow. Way to stick up for your franchise QB there, Tepper.
I got a theory. I have a theory.
Take it, Rodney.
Cam is saying that he's most definitely going to be back.
Kemba Walker kind of said something similar.
But Cam doesn't really know if he's going to be back. And so he's setting it up. To me, he's setting it up. If y'all let me go, y'all look like the bad guys. Well, and there's a whole and there's a whole lot of posturing on both ends going on right now, to be quite honest with you.
No, yeah, I agree with that. But the Panthers would be the bad guys if they let Cam go before they know if he's healthy or not. If Cam Newton is not healthy, then it's a moot point.
Yeah.
If he comes into minicamp, well, first of all, if he skips minicamp, he can't skip any camps. He can't miss any camps.
Right.
So let's say he comes into minicamp in March and he's not 100%.
Yep.
Okay. Then the Panthers got to do what the Panthers got to do.
I'm glad you mentioned March. Go ahead.
But if he comes in minicamp in March and he looks like even a fraction of Cam Newton, then you keep him. At least keep him until his contract runs out.
Right.
Because then what are the options that we have? And that's the thing. A lot of people are saying, well, hey, Panthers we gotta prepare for all possibilities and look towards the future, which is 100% true. I agree with that.
Yeah.
But what does that mean? You just don't get rid of Cam Newton and not have a plan B.
Right.
We know it's not Kyle Allen.
Let me tell you something.
You sure?
To be honest with you,
Yeah, it might be.
if they have a goal for two guys, it might be Kyle Allen. But to be honest with you, man, Tepper has to get this right, because you look like a bad guy at this point. If this rebuild fails,
Tepper's done everything right so far.
Let me tell you something. I'm going to slightly disagree with y'all because I already think he looks like a bad guy. No. I'm going to tell you why. It's slightly. Any other franchise quarterback in this league, but the first person that pops up in my mind is Eli Manning. Mm-hmm. Every single owner and GM in this same situation that I can remember has at least stuck up for their guy. This is my guy. We are riding this till the wheels fall off.
Unless there's a plan B.
There's a plan B.
I think about Indianapolis.
Yeah, because
they had Andrew Luck coming, so they knew they could get rid of Peyton Manning because they had the second coming of Peyton Manning coming.
But probably wasn't smart to get rid of Peyton in hindsight.
Hello. The point I am trying to make is that y'all know my favorite saying: optics mean everything.
Yep, optics matter.
It is bad optics when your owner comes out and is as non-committal and as ambiguous as you can be about the guy who has brought you so much relevance in the NFL. Can I get an amen?
No, I agree with that.
Amen, but I look at it like this. Cam technically isn't his guy.
Well, that's true.
That's true.
But we said the same thing about Ron Rivera too. That wasn't his guy. Ron Rivera didn't deliver it. He's gone.
So with that being said, guys, with all of this being said, I cannot believe it is me coming to this conclusion out of all people. I think the end is near, man. Every time I read something else about this situation, it just leads me to believe that. And I don't want it that way. Let's be very clear about that. But everything I read is just like, God, man, this is just not looking.
Okay, let's say Cam stays. And let's say he plays decent. Do you sign him to an extension or not? The Panthers,
I franchise think, the guy.
The Panthers look bad, actually, if they talk about.
That's coming.
We don't want to lose our advertising dollars. We don't want to get YouTubed. But yeah, I think it is the end of the road. Just because there's too much dissent. There's too much of a gap between. I mean, how many times have we seen in NFL history where a situation like this occurs and then the player stays?
Right.
Yeah.
Very rarely
Very
do
rare.
they.
And let me tell you something, man. The timing of this is important too. We're in February. These camps start in March.
Next month.
What's in April, guys? The draft. So if you're gonna make a decision,
okay. So here's this is just what I think. If you're going to get rid of Cam Newton, fine. If you're going to get rid of him and then hinge the future of your franchise
on Justin Herbert,
then you have messed up.
You
royally.
failed.
You have
failed. Yes.
You have
already
failed. There's no quarterback in the draft that I feel like is going to. Okay, let's say we're rebuilding here. Okay,
I don't like Burrow.
So look at the last time the Panthers rebuilt. It took them 3 seasons to be a playoff team.
Right.
They got Cam Newton,
Luke
Kuechly,
yep.
Thomas Davis. Well, Thomas Davis came over from
they got
the
KK
old
Star.
KK Star. So look at all the moves that they made.
Right.
Do we see the Panthers getting a caliber player of any of those calibers, who are all gone, by the way, for this next rebuild?
It can happen, but
it won't be a quarterback.
But do you trust? But do you trust Hurney to draft in the other 2 rounds? In the other rounds.
Well, in the NFL, you need a quarterback. If you were rebuilding, you must have a quarterback. That is not. I don't even think that's debatable. The most important position in professional sports is an NFL.
Some people would argue San Francisco didn't have a quarterback.
Well, they had cap space to go overpay their quarterback.
You know what though? You get Jimmy Garoppolo. Whoever Bill Belichick drafts,
right?
I'll take that guy.
I'll take that guy. I'll hinge my bet on that guy. Whoever
he may not always work out,
right?
Like Matt Cassell, but
right. It's a risk. It's a risk you're willing to take every time, man.
San Francisco is pretty happy with the choice that they ended up making,
regardless of what you think.
They went back to the Super Bowl,
right?
So I don't. But the Panthers don't have those kind of options right now. Unless they feel like we can pick up a Bridgewater or someone like that. But even as well as Teddy Bridgewater played last year, is he like the guy?
To me, that's so.
But I know who the guy is, though.
Who's the guy?
Taysom Hill.
Stop it.
The Saints have already said
he's better. He can throw better than Lamar Jackson. Apparently.
Look, man. Look, man.
Right. What do you say to that? Right? You know the question I want to ask? If I'm Cam Newton, how do I feel right now that the owner has pretty much not stuck up?
Especially considering, let's get this out of the way. Jerry Richardson was kind of a creep. We all know that after the fact.
Right.
And we never really agreed with his stance on how players should, particularly when it came to Cam Newton.
Mm-hmm.
But Cam Newton loves Jerry Richardson.
Yeah. And the players did. All the players did too.
And he felt like Jerry had his back.
Right.
Despite coming out and saying, well, I don't want you to have tattoos or whatever. Cam felt like Richardson had his back.
Right.
He can't possibly feel the same way about Tepper right
But, we're talking about 2 different ways of operating, man. I mean, look at Tepper. Look at his background. Look where he comes from.
But I would think that would endear him more to Cam Newton. Richardson was the crotchety old Republican dude with a lot of money.
Yeah, but
no tattoos.
But Tepper is the shark that wants to get things done, and he wants to win at all costs with no loyalty to anyone, and it's proven itself.
Well, I mean, he better win soon because you know what he wants pretty soon.
You know what I said? He wants me to say. I said 5 years. He's got 5 years. You got 5 years to make this. Because
you make this work.
To make this work. If you don't do it in 5 years,
you say bye-bye to that stadium.
You won't get a new stadium.
You gonna build Concord or
because we know how this city turns on its owners that don't produce in 5 years. So
you got 5. If you think you can turn it around in 5 years by shedding Cam Newton, then by all means, hey, I'll trust the process. I'll ride with you, but hey,
you better have a hell of a plan.
You better have a hell of a plan, and at least I'm okay with franchises not putting all their cards on the table as long as we can see. Like I felt like with the Hornets, a lot of people are like, "Well, the Hornets aren't transparent enough." I felt like
I don't think they need to be.
If you were paying attention, you could see what the plan was. But you know what? To be fair, Mitch came out publicly, like he did with Kyle Bailey interview, and said, "Hey, look, here's what we're doing right now," and it's like, oh, it makes sense.
Right.
So Tepper's got to do something like that.
Right.
He's got to be like, hey, Cam missed 18 games over the last 2 seasons, or 16 games over the last 2 seasons,
and we can save $18 million.
$18 million. We feel like we're gonna put all of our stock into our offensive and defensive lines. Okay.
And find the quarterback.
Yeah. Regardless of whether you agree with that plan or not, at least you can say, okay, that's the plan.
Yeah.
But instead of this wishy-washiness.
How funny is it going to be if Kyle Allen is the week 1 starter for the Carolina Panthers, man?
I think by week 8, you get $12 tickets in the upper deck.
I've been a Panthers fan since October 23rd, 1993, okay? That's how long I've been, since day one. Since they put the fireworks over Bank of America Stadium and they put the big touchdown headline in the Charlotte Observer. That's how long I've been a Panthers fan. So I've been there through 2-14, 1-15. I've been there through
George Seifert,
through George Seifert, through Chris Wanky,
Dom Capers.
I've been through it
Racist
all.
Kerry Collins.
Yeah.
But if they roll Kyle Allen's ass out there week 1.
Is it in question? Is your fandom in question right now?
Dog, yeah. It just, yeah. First of all, I'm gonna call Steve Smith up.
I'll
be like, hey man, you see this shit?
This is what we're probably going to outsource Panthers coverage.
Yes.
Yeah. You're gonna have 3 interns do the Panthers coverage.
All right, enough of the Hornets talk. Interns, come on. Commercial break. You take over.
I just don't unless Matt Rule and is like the miracle worker with Kyle Allen. I'm going to be a little fair to Kyle Allen right now. Last season was essentially his rookie season.
He wasn't completely terrible.
He wasn't good enough to win games in the NFL with
what he had around him.
With what he had around him.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Mainly offensive line.
That's a lot what he had around him.
Well,
he had 2,000 yards receiving, 1,000 rushing.
And plus, but the defense lost a lot of those games.
Yeah.
But the defense was always in a bad position because Kyle Allen would fumble the ball on the damn 30-yard line. So that goes both ways. I'm just saying he wasn't.
They're all connected, man.
Right. So he wasn't. He wasn't as bad as like Jameis Winston or something like that. Okay.
Hey, man, James had corrective eye surgery. He's going to be elite next year.
Isn't that crazy? I know.
Why wait so late?
Man, that's the craziest thing.
How long has he been in the league now?
About 6-7 years.
And you just now.
But we saw the same thing with Steph Curry.
Right.
Remember Steph Curry
had corrective eye surgery.
Had corrective eye surgery. But Steph Curry was the greatest shooter of all time before he had surgery.
James been throwing interceptions since he's been in the league.
You would think at some point you're like, man, this guy, like, man,
the talent's there. It's just not connecting all the way. I see the talent.
So do we feel the same way about Kyle Allen? Is the talent there?
No.
He is what he is. Man.
He's a game manager, and if he can cut down on turnovers, he'll be a great backup quarterback, a great option.
No, I'd say if he cuts down on turnovers, he'll be serviceable.
Okay, so what if the Panthers said, "Hey, look, we want to win with a game manager, and then build around our trenches, our offensive and defense."
Defensive lines. I was about to be critical of that, and I just remembered we damn sure did it one time.
Yeah.
So it's not like we can't do it again.
How many teams have won Super Bowls with game managers? A ton. The team that beat us in Super Bowl 50. Peyton Manning was a game manager.
If you go back and watch that game, Peyton was horrible.
He was terrible.
It was bad. You're right.
Tony Ely would have been the damn MVP if we had won the game. It can be done.
Trent Dilfer. There's another one.
Baltimore.
Flacco is the game manager too.
That's not who I'm thinking of.
Joe Dilfer was with Baltimore.
Oh, that's right, Trent Dilfer. I was thinking who won.
Brad Johnson.
Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
So
it can be done.
It can be done. That's an odd way to build around a team, especially since
it's a risky way to build.
We just saw what Kansas City did,
right?
Not being a game manager team.
Somebody's trolling.
So I don't know. I think the Panthers will come out looking better in this if they have a little bit of transparency in what their plan is, and it's going to depend on how Cam Newton looks in March.
Look, man, I think we will have our answer sooner than later.
Next month, we'll know.
Exactly. They're going to draft a quarterback regardless of how healthy Cam is.
Wait, you mean Will Greer isn't? That's not the guy. They're not hanging. They're not.
We wasted a 3rd round pick on that dude, man. Don't get me started.
Don't get me started, man.
I mean, we did on Monty Edwards. Too. Wasn't that Hurney?
That was Hurney. Yeah, that was a Hurney special there, buddy.
Hey, man, I felt like he got a bad rap when he was here. Monty.
Okay.
I mean,
I'll go with that.
He could have been. They used him wrong.
He could have been Slash.
Some would argue he should have been the quarterback. He was.
That's true. Yeah, actually, yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
What did we have to lose that year?
Right.
Nothing.
All right. So, we hope that the clouds surrounding this situation clear up and we get a bit of clarification.
And hopefully this horse can be revived and we don't
I'll
have
tell you,
to
Panthers minicamp is going to be lit.
Oh,
it's going to be so much pressure.
I can't wait to bring Vashti back during this minicamp because there's going to be some high key drama and some real interesting stuff coming up this minicamp, man.
It's going to be a lot of fun there.
Yeah, a lot of fun. That's one way to put it.
So to fund our journey to the minicamp, we need you to listen to a word from our sponsor, Anchor.fm.
Peace.
And we're back under construction.
Yeah. 704. What's
Kaiser,
up?
Rodney, Jamal.
Gastonia, Salisbury, Huntersville.
Let's talk a little bit about local culture. So, McClatchy is a newspaper conglomerate. They published the Miami Herald, the Kansas City Star, dozens of other newspapers. They've just recently filed for bankruptcy protection as they struggle to pay off some debt because no one reads the newspaper anymore. Right. Why is this important to Charlotte? Well, McClatchy also publishes the Charlotte Observer, which has been a mainstay in Charlotte since the beginning of time. And of course, this puts the Charlotte Observer at some risk. Now, McClatchy has stated that their newspaper chains will operate as normal, and they feel like they're going to be able to come out of bankruptcy protection and thus their debt within the next few months as they move to new models, business models. However, I don't see that happening.
This is your fault, Kaiser. You know why?
Why?
You didn't click that link that says, "Hey man, pay us $1 for this
I
article."
I wasn't paying to read no.
Charge $265 a year.
I wasn't doing that. Nobody's doing that.
Insiders or something.
Yes, I'd rather pay them.
Remember that? Yeah. Is that still a thing?
That's still a thing.
Insider. Now you get it as part of ESPN Plus.
Oh, okay.
So if you get subscription to ESPN Plus, which I have, you get Insider.
Look at you. I'm
for you know what I'm saying. That's how. Yeah, I'll be honest. I haven't read the Charlotte Observer in a long time.
I used to read it online all the time before they start making.
Before they start charging you for it.
So would we really miss the Charlotte Observer if they shut it down?
Kinda,
yeah. It's important to me.
It's a staple, and it's important news. Yeah, for people who still read, for people who just don't click headlines.
And then we acting like the old people just disappeared. And
right,
they don't want to read papers.
There's still elderly people here that read, of course.
So to put things into perspective, in 2011, circulation was 155,000 daily and 212,000 on Sundays, which is pretty good.
Good, yeah.
2017, 69,000 daily and 106 on Sunday. That's almost a 50% decline over a 6-year period, and those are 2017 numbers. So we're 3 years later in that.
Does that include online?
That's a good question.
That's print.
That's just print. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. That right now, daily print is about 75,000. Sunday print's 108,000. Now, online numbers are a little iffy because it says the average unique visitors per month is roughly 4 million, but that could mean anything.
Like just a click or
it's hard to know how accurate those numbers are in terms of what it means for the future of the Charlotte Observer.
I mean, when I was a kid, man, I used to love just getting the Sunday newspaper. Just kind of spreading all the sports out.
Yep.
Just reading the box scores and
the comic. I used to wait for my dad to pass me the comics section.
Yeah.
Yep. Comics and sports.
Yep.
I think
it's just sad, man.
There's some value to print media, but
so here's my question. Okay, so if you have 4 million people who are at least adding to the traffic of your site, at the very least. What is keeping them from getting advertising dollars? That's my question.
How long are they staying on the site?
Well, I mean, I don't.
And are they actually?
I don't think
stuff advertised.
I think the Observer, like most online media, wants to avoid constant advertisements.
Okay.
So
would you want to avoid constant advertisements or bankruptcy?
Yeah,
Which one sounds worse?
I don't know though. I don't know if online advertising revenue is as lucrative as. Think about when people be like, "Such and just took out a full page ad in the Observer to thank the fans." Yeah, those are expensive. It's expensive to take out a full page ad.
Thanks,
Whereas
Marvin.
online, there's no such thing as like, I guess technically you could pay the Observer to, to have a page, but it's different because a full page ad in the Observer, you would eventually get to that ad just simply by virtue of flipping through the pages.
Right.
That's not going to happen online. So the business model is completely different.
And then, like, if you look at the internet, man, just thinking about it. If you don't like the way so and so covers this team or this team,
somebody else
you
does.
have options.
Somebody else does.
Like 20 years ago, there was no Keep Blitzing. Carolina Blitz. There was no under construction.
Right.
It was just the Observer and maybe Sports Illustrated.
We've killed the Observer.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, no, I think though people would still gravitate towards print media if they felt like if they liked what people had to say.
Thank you.
We talk about whenever a Rick Bonnell article is posted, it's like
I didn't want to go there. See?
I'll go there.
Some stuff is necessary,
But we've been reading him
forever
since I was a kid.
I mean, but I would honestly say he's kind of disconnected from what the people are talking about.
Thank you. I was going to say I'll do you one better. When it comes to subject matter, specifically for local stuff, I want to read stuff that I feel like I can't get anywhere else.
Right.
And with the Observer and certain other areas specifically, when I read the Observer, I don't feel like I'm getting firsthand information because I shouldn't get the same information from my sports. And ESPN basically has said the same thing. I want you to be able to tell me what somebody within the organization said. Perfect example. How in the world does Chris Broussard break a trade for the Hornets before Rick Bonnell does?
Yes.
Because that doesn't make any sense to me. It makes sense, but it doesn't make sense.
It's so I thought about that. It's so weird. Like Adrian Wojnarowski and Shams, they have
the story
within every organizations, and they break them fast
before
the
beat
local
writer stuff.
And it's just crazy how nationalized the NBA
now,
Twitter has become.
What's funny about this is that the Charlotte Observer is actually a renowned newspaper. They've won 5 Pulitzer Prizes: 1968, 1981, 1988, 2 in 1988, and one as recently as 2013. 2 of those were for editorial cartooning. Kevin Sears, who was
awesome.
Doug Marlette, who used to draw one of my favorite comics, Kudzu. But despite that, they've lost 90. The stock has lost 95% of its value.
Ouch,
Jeez.
man.
Wow.
Ouch.
That's insane. I think the Charlotte Observer is going, at least how we know it, the newspaper. I mean, they tore the building down, the old, which was kind of iconic building in downtown Charlotte.
Yeah, right.
That's been gone for some years now. It's essentially, they're just going to have to make a complete shift to digital. But here's the problem. An annual digital subscription is $16 a month.
That's a lot.
That's more than my Netflix subscription.
Right.
That's a lot.
That's a lot
I
of
could
money.
justify $3 or $4 a month.
Right, for a local newspaper.
For digital, because, I mean, there's no overhead. They don't have to actually print the papers anymore.
But you still got to pay to maintain that website.
That's true, but $16 a month?
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money, man.
I understand, hey, they got staff to pay and all that, but $16 a month is a lot for a newspaper. That's a lot.
I don't see a way out, man. I honestly don't, man. I have to. Look, man, you can annoy me with ads all you want to if that means avoiding paying $16 a month. I'll take that over that, man, any day.
Oh, I was just looking at a hotel in Vegas. It just popped up on
my
computer.
Yeah,
I was just talking to Rodney about a trip, and look what pops up. Funny how that works, right?
Yeah, I just don't see.
I don't see a way out, man. It's going to get. Layoffs are coming. I hate to say it, layoffs are coming.
Yeah.
And then you look at it like a lot of people from the sports department within the Observer have left within the past year,
Yep.
and other people that reported on other things have left as well. And you got other places like the Undefeated, the Athletic that are willing to pay people to come write for them because they have more of the actual subscription based online.
Right.
And so I don't know where the Observer goes from here.
Maybe they should try to copy one of their business models. That's the only thing I can think of, man. Because I'm not paying $60 a month for local news.
With the Athletic, if I'm a fan of the Lakers and the Hornets, I can click on Lakers and Hornets stuff, and I can click on general NBA stuff. With Charlotte Observer is just Charlotte Hornets specific for the most part. I mean, you have more options.
Yeah, you're right.
That's just how it is, man.
Yeah, I don't think they provide the insight into local politics enough for me to be like, yeah, I'm gonna pay $16 a month for this news that I could find anywhere else in the world for free.
So is it just that simple? Better content equals more
wow,
subscribers?
Yeah, you would.
What a concept, right?
Yeah,
Ooh,
crazy
to think you could just be better and just
because I mean the Charlotte Post, they're still going strong. Circulation only 22,000, but they're
still rolling.
Still rolling.
Hadn't heard any bad news about them.
They're not going bankrupt.
Shout out to the Charlotte Post.
Charlotte Post.
Good call.
Founded in 1878, which is they're actually older than the Observer is.
I have, the only thing I can tell to the Charlotte Observer is just don't follow the footsteps of creative loafing.
God. Oh, man, I forgot about that.
Yeah, you want to talk about
Rest in peace,
fire,
Creative
man.
What happened?
Yeah.
Oh, they're done.
Creative loafing done?
They got rid of all their print staff to go digital, and then we're like, hey, y'all want to come back and work for us?
It was like,
you guys,
right.
Really?
Shout out to Ryan Pickin, my dog. Please come on the show.
Wow.
Shout out to QC Metro as well.
Yeah.
That's right.
There.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right. Speaking of shout outs, that'll take us right into our shout outs / shout outs. What do you guys got for me?
Okay, I got something. So, Super Bowl winning offensive coordinator, Eric Bieniemy, is rumored to be a candidate in the job for Colorado, his alma mater. I feel as though he shouldn't have to take that job. So,
said a word
people
there.
would say that he doesn't call plays. So, did the two former offensive coordinators for Kansas City call plays? Okay, so people are quick to say it's not a racial matter and maybe he doesn't interview well. He had an interview after the Super Bowl. The man is well spoken. He comes across as very knowledgeable and well spoken. I don't see how he can not interview well. And somebody had it when Tepper hired Rule, he said something that put everything into perspective for me. He basically said, I could see myself in Rule. We grew up the same way. We have the same values. It's honestly, people want to hire people that look like them, act like them, come from the same background as them. And that's honestly not fair. It's not fair.
That's not operating business with
It's
integrity.
not, but that's
the world we
the
live
world
in.
we live
the way
in.
it is.
That's the world we live in.
And so, shout out to Eric Bieniemy, man. Keep going. I would say stay with the Chiefs. Your time is coming, man, and I hope you're successful.
I think he should take the Colorado job.
You think so?
Because if building a so you say, okay, you know what, NFL, screw you guys. I'm done with NFL. Screw you guys. Because they're probably gonna pay him more money in Colorado. He's gonna build a winning program. He's gonna build a winning program there, and then you build a winning program. Then you can say NFL.
Then you're undeniable.
Yeah. Hey, look what you guys.
I mean, but the crazy thing is, black coaches said that a lot of them said they have better opportunities in the NCAA at this point than the NFL.
No, yeah,
and it's kind of sad. You look at Joe Judge, the Giants coach. What the hell did he do to get the job? What's his resume compared to Bieniemy?
I'm not sold on Matt Rule yet.
Yeah, right. What do we have to?
Yeah, I got nothing to go off on that.
Right.
I mean,
we'll see, man.
He built. Everyone's like, man, he built 2 college programs. Yes, college, not the NFL,
not grown ass men.
Yes,
who I was gonna say who make more money than you, but it ain't.
Not right now.
We got a young team. Not yet. Maybe CMC.
CMC don't even make more money than him right now. That's crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Eric he'll get his shot.
Yeah,
But sometimes you gotta
play the game, man.
take one step back to make two steps forward.
And you shouldn't have to, Rodney. I'm with you,
but that's the sad reality that we have.
Pretty much.
We always have to take a step back to get forward.
Yep.
And then we got to prove ourselves, and then we reflect. Like how we react to situation reflects on our whole community, and that's sad. But anybody other shout outs, man?
Before you get pissed, shout out to I feel so old, man. Shout out to my cousin who I used to hold in my arms and hear her cry and hug her when she fell, who was having a baby. Shout out to my cousin, Sarah Ann. I feel so old, man. Good Lord have mercy. Shout out to Sarah Ann and her boyfriend who are expecting a child. Shout out to my best friend in the whole world, Sean Johnson, who is turning 40. You are old. Yeah. But shout out to my boy Sean, man, who is turning 40, man. Continued shout out to the people who continue to walk up to us and be like, y'all better not stop doing what you're doing. I don't care what anybody says. I had somebody randomly walk up to me after Hornets game and be like, hey, man, you the dude from under construction. Y'all better not stop doing that. Those kind of things
so
keep
encouraging.
us going because it is not easy sometimes. So speaking of that, if you are watching this, please click on subscribe. It takes 2 seconds. So those are the sweet sounds of Rodney.
I would love for us to be able to do this full time.
I swear, man.
For us to be able to deliver you guys content.
Could you imagine the articles we would write?
Yeah, 3-4 times a week.
So man, if
we'll
y'all,
get there.
yeah, man, if y'all just, we want to quit our jobs eventually. So y'all please support us.
I'm gonna shout out National NBA Media for the love that they've given to the Charlotte Hornets.
It's about time.
Over the last week. It's
And it's subjective.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
It's like it's not a snipe or a shot. It's straight.
It's not Michael Jordan clickbait.
Yeah,
Man.
the way that Reggie Miller and Dwayne Wade were talking about Devonte Graham during the 3-point shootout.
Yeah.
The way they were talking about PJ Washington and Miles Bridges during the Rising Stars Challenge. Just Google Miles Bridges. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Right now, that guy is getting
He's getting some national love,
all
man.
Nasty
the
with it.
love.
Yeah.
I will say this, though. It's funny that during the Rising Stars game, it was all about Zion. Oh, my God. Zion's putting on a show.
Right,
It's
right.
like, do y'all not see Miles Bridges throwing the ball off the damn backboard?
To himself.
Windmill dunk
with his
it?
right hand.
with his offhand.
Yeah. Do y'all not see this? Hey, don't get me wrong. Zion, and I understand that.
Zion is a beast.
But hey, our guys
It's
pretty
like the
good
shows
too.
that people
Yeah.
love, man. That's
So,
it.
but no, the national media actually, showed us a good amount of love, and it makes me excited for what the future holds for the Charlotte Hornets. Maybe the dark days are
Finally over, man. We'll see.
I got one more shout out.
Me too. I forgot one.
Shout out to the NBA for changing the All-Star MVP award to the Kobe
Bryant Award, no
Absolutely.
doubt, man. No doubt.
Four-time All-Star MVP.
that's the record. Tie for the record.
Tie for the record. Rest in peace, Kobe Bean Bryant.
Forever, man.
It's still weird to say.
It still sucks to say it, man. Shout out, I forgot, man. Shout out to Big Pooh of Little Brother, man. We had a really good conversation.
Carolina agents.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Big Pooh, who I talked to yesterday, man. Had a pretty good conversation. No, it's always a good time to see him, man. Hopefully you will be on the show pretty soon, man. But shout out to Big Pooh. Shout out to Ja Freedom, who hosted his weekly event at Tip Top Daily Market. Y'all should go check it out, man. So those are my shout out. They have sometimes. They have a food truck
You can check out
they have beer.
Scott Blackwood's Killer Beast truck be out there
Yeah,
sometime.
thank you.
Definitely
Yes.
want to check that out. Definitely.
And I'm mad that I missed the Slutty Vegan food truck. I've heard so much about the Slutty
Well,
Vegan.
there's
I'm
like
good.
10,000 people out there. So.
good.
I know. You're not a vegan.
So I actually, for the first time, had an Impossible Whopper not too long ago.
How was it?
You're fearless, man.
I don't know what he did.
Stop lying, people.
You can just get on TV and lie.
Y'all just lie about what y'all eat. I'll say this. If you didn't eat a lot of meat, or you didn't eat a lot of burgers, or you never had a Whopper, and someone gave you one and didn't tell you that it was an Impossible Whopper, you'd probably be like, oh yeah, this tastes like a hamburger. It tastes like a cheeseburger or whatever. But someone like me, who is a carnivore, I eat a lot of meat. I eat a lot of cheeseburgers. And first of all, it's $11 for this thing.
Oh,
God.
Yes. For the combo meal. Yes.
Oh.
$11.
So I'm like, okay, this better be good.
Right.
And I'm not one of these people. I
Go to
don't.
Five Guys for that.
Yeah, I don't get a bunch of stuff on my Whopper. I typically don't get tomatoes, pickles, or onions. Okay. Yeah. So when you take stuff off and you get more of the meat taste, I'm like, this don't taste. And it wasn't like terrible, but it didn't taste like a Whopper. I'll just put it like that.
Gotcha.
So stop lying. Stop getting on TV and lying. It tastes just like a Whopper. It don't taste like a Whopper. It don't. It costs $11.
tastes like an imposter.
Yeah, it tastes like.
It's Diet Coke Whopper.
I don't know if you guys ever seen the movie The Fly, the 1987. No, there is a scene where they teleport a steak,
right.
and Gina Davis eats it, and she's like, it tastes like synthetic. It tastes like what a computer thinks a steak is supposed to taste like. That's what an Impossible Whopper tastes like. It tastes like what someone thinks a hamburger is supposed to taste like. So I'm not upset I missed Slutty Vegan. Sorry.
Yeah, same.
Sorry about that.
I'm good.
But continue to come back to Charlotte because we do have a lot of people that
Love
love that stuff.
The vegan
here.
food.
Not me. So, by the way, real quick, guys, if you guys want to help with under construction, please reach out to us. We've had people reach out to us asking about internships.
Writing.
We do audio, video production. If you're going to come in and learn how to be on the mixing board, how to add filters to voices, how to chop up video, all these different
And you
things.
will sign an NDA.
You will yeah, because we do need the help.
Digital media people,
yes,
please reach
hit
out to
up.
us.
We could really.
You will not get paid, but
We are not getting paid,
But we love you
but we
forever.
love you
Yeah.
for the experience.
So we could put out a whole lot more content if our team expanded. So just if you're like, hey man, I really want to learn how to do that, or hey, I already know how to do that and I can help under construction, just please let us know. You can email us at underconstruction10th@gmail.com or just hit us up on our Facebook page. And we will certainly get back to you.
Two more quick shout outs. Shout out to David Houston. Shout out to Jamal Cowan, who have helped us put up content recently. So
Yes,
shout
absolutely.
out to y'all
Absolutely.
too, man.
Shout out to those guys. So
Yep.
that's going to do it for us this week. Hopefully you'll hear our lovely voices again next week, and the Hornets will be on a 4-game winning streak.
That'd be nice.
You guys take care of each other and take care of yourselves.
Peace out, y'all.
Love.